When setting up a new quiz, it's really important to make one of two choices. Is this going to be a quiz that redirects to multiple pages with a score perhaps, or is it going to be a quiz that we just answer the questions and display results? So the results would be the dynamic results created by the quiz. So there's two questions there. Is this just going to redirect to pages where we have content on those pages or to affiliate products? Or is this a quiz that generates dynamic results based on the answers that the people give us? You have the ability to do both with this quiz. So I'm going to take a look at this quiz, Rebecca's quiz, and we're going to set it up as a redirect since that's a new option today. So we've already included all of our questions in the quiz, and we have 3 answers per question, and each of those has a separate response. Let me just show you here. Each of those will have a separate score. So for example, the first one is a score of 2, the second one's a score of 1, and the third one's a score of 3. Now she's got these mixed up so that they aren't random, so that they aren't predictable. So you have to choose to determine which score that you want on these. Now I'm going to go to the Edit Quiz here. You can do this from the front screen or from this screen, and notice it says Answer and Result, and there's a result page here. Now what we're going to do with this is click on Redirect Only. That result page goes away. We have tagging enabled so that I can add a tagging functionality to the end when we go create our buttons. Okay, so now I'm going to save this. And if I come back to the Quizzes tab, you're going to see there's no results shortcode on the quiz here because all you're using on a redirect is the questions shortcode, the simple questions shortcode. So that's the same shortcode. That doesn't change no matter what kind of quiz that you're creating. Okay, so here we go. Let me just go back to this. Here are the questions, and here's the buttons. Okay, this is where the buttons is where it gets tricky. Now we've added all of our questions and answers, so that's fairly simple. But before we get there, let me just bring you back to this so you can understand what the makeup is. Every quiz has 3 parts: question, answer, and response. The response is what shows up on the page. This is like dynamic content that you're creating based on their response. So if they choose this answer when they make their selection, they're going to get this response on the page. And notice this is blank because we're doing redirect only. So there doesn't need to be a response here since they're never going to see that response. It's not an aggregate response. We're just asking them to select so we can send them to the next page. Alright, so now I'm going to go back to the questions. We've got all of these questions set up, and then we go to the buttons. So remember, our scores were 1 through 3, and we had 10 questions. So our minimum score is going to be 10, and our maximum score is going to be 30. Since we had 3 times 10, be 30. Okay, that's the maximum. All right, so what we've got is a 20-point separation here. 20 points divided by 3 is about 7. So I probably would change this to be something like 17, maybe 16. (17 to 24) and 25 to 30. That gives me a good range so that people can see which page they're going to. So the content here, this call to action here is the same for all of these, and we're basically measuring what kind of response that we want. So these go to separate pages. Let me see if I can pull these pages up and see what they look like. Okay, so this is the first answer page. Notice that there's no dynamic content on this page. That's okay. This is the first answer page. And here's the second answer page. You're an emerging asker. You're an emerging asker. So this is response. This is the page that will respond to people who have given us basically the score of 2 all the way through. This one says you're an ask kicker, ASK kicker, and this is a person who is more advanced, and this is the response page for that. So we're not doing any dynamic results to these pages. So let's go back and look at how this is set up. Alright, so we have that in place there. Now we can add content to these buttons if we want, just by clicking here. And we can select the MailChimp. She's using MailChimp, so we had that added in the settings. And we can select the MailChimp list that she wants to ask to add these to here. And these all go to the same list. She could actually create 3 different lists and have each of those buttons going to 3 different lists and get better segmentation that way. But this is how you tag this in MailChimp. Basically, you're just sending them to a new list, adding them to a list. Okay, so we've got the buttons all set up. So now I'm going to come back to the page itself. And this is the quiz. Okay, take the short quiz below to find out just how you rank as an asker. How often do you get to participate in your favorite hobby? Okay, I'm just going to run through these pretty quickly. Okay, we're 100% done. It's asking me for name, email. Click to see how you're doing was the information that we put in there. Now we could change these based on the score if we wanted to. I click that and it's going to take me to whatever page. So I had ask quotient number 2. You're an emerging asker. So that gets me directly to the page. Once we understand the concept, are we asking for dynamic results, or are we asking for a page to be redirected? That is that's the thing that drives your entire quiz. So there you go.